Hey, what is up guys? How is it going? My name is StevieWunderKid, and in this video I'm going to be showing you guys how I recreated Adam LZ's Nissan 240SX S13 in Forza Horizon 5, of course using the 240SX that's available to us in the game. So yeah, in this video I'm going to be covering everything from all of the exterior upgrades I did, all the way to the motor swap that I did, as well as giving you share codes for pretty much the tune, as well as the paint job that I did for this build as well. I'm going to be going through pretty much everything you guys need to recreate his car as accurately as possible. So with that in mind, let's get right into it. Alright, so moving into the upgrades and tuning, I'm going to go through pretty much everything in order, starting off with the motor swap. So for the conversion itself, I ditched the stock KA motor and went for the 2-liter inline-4 turbo engine. I have to assume this is the SR20, and it actually fits this setup really well, and it also matches up with the SR20 that's in Adam's car, so that's what I went with for the engine swap. And then for the drivetrain swap, of course, because the car is already real-world drive to begin with, I did not change that. We're going to touch on the engine upgrades now. Pretty much everything is fully upgraded. I'm not going to go through everything, but I just set everything to race, and that was about it. Everything from the engine, the fuel system, ignition, exhaust, cams, valves, all the internals, even the flywheel, it's all fully upgraded. Once that's all said and done, the car will make around 600 horsepower and 430 pound-feet of torque, which is actually really dialed. It seems pretty high power in comparison to some of the other builds that I've done, but it actually fits this car really well. That's about it for the engine upgrades. Moving back out of here and going into the platform and handling. For the brakes, of course, I maxed these out, pretty much maxed out everything. For the springs and the dampers, I did the drift springs and the dampers as well. And then for the ARBs, I maxed out the ARBs, race front ARBs, as well as the race rear ARBs. And then for the chassis reinforcement, I just left this stock. Originally, I did try a cage, but I wasn't happy with the amount of weight that I added and just how stiff it made the car feel, so I just left that stock. And then finally, for the weight reduction, I did go for the race weight reduction as well. Pretty much everything's simple there. As it stands, we're pretty much maxing everything out at this point, so yeah, pretty simple setup so far. Finally, moving into the drivetrain, we're going to look at the clutch, of course, race clutch. Then for the transmission, I did the race transmission, the 6-speed manual. Driveline, I maxed that out for the race driveline, and then for the differential, I did the drift differential as well. Then moving to the final set of kind of performance upgrades, we have the tires and the rims. So for the tire compound, because this is a more powerful setup, I did go for the drift tires to give us a little bit of extra grip. Definitely drift tires, I think, are the move for this build. Same thing with the front tire width, I maxed this out, so we have 245s running on the front. And then for the rear tires, I did the 255s. I feel like 275s are just a little overkill for a setup like this. Obviously, they will make the setup more gripped up, but I feel like 255s is already kind of pushing it, so I just left it there. And then obviously for the rim style, I wanted to match the rims that are on Adam's car, so I chose the Work CR Kais. If you go into the sport rim style and go down to the Work CR Kais, you'll see that this is a really close match to the ones that Adam's running on his car. Then moving back out of here, I went to the front rim size. I changed these to 18s. They start at 15s, and I feel like these are way too small. I bumped them up to 18s. You could go even larger than this, but I feel like 18s look really good for a setup like this. And obviously I matched that up for the rears as well. And then for the front track width, I did the widest front track width that you could go for. I bumped this out all the way. Of course, that'll give us a little bit more front grip and allow the front of the car to be more controllable when we're drifting. And then for the rear track width, I bumped this out as much as I could as well. So yeah, that's about it for all the upgrades on the tire side of things. And now we'll touch briefly on the exterior upgrades. There's not a ton of options here, which kind of sucks because you think about a Nissan 240, you'd think more upgrades would be available. But unfortunately, we've got a pretty limited option, but luckily enough, we can match this up pretty well with Adam's car. So for the front bumper, I went with the Origin Lab Street front bumper to match up with, of course, the Origin kit on his car. Same deal for the rear bumper and the side skirts. I went with the Origin Lab Street rear bumper and the side skirts as well. And then for the wing, I just left the wing stock. Unfortunately, there's no better match to the 326 power spoiler that's on his car, so you're kind of just going to have to bite the bullet here and leave it stock. So yeah, guys, that's pretty much everything about this build all said and done. You're looking at about 2,450 pounds for the total weight for this car, 600 horsepower, 430 pound-feet of torque, and this thing is actually super dialed. I'll go into the tune in a little bit, but that's about it for all the upgrades that I did to replicate Adam's car. It's not super accurate to his car, but I feel like just that little bit of extra power really helps out when it comes to drifting at those higher speeds, and this car still feels really controllable as well. So I'm gonna quick scroll through the tune, and I will have the share code on the screen as well if you guys want to download this and give it a shot for yourselves. This is pretty much everything I did. Again, I went for a more grippy setup, so I didn't do anything super crazy. I kind of made sure that the rear was a little bit softer, so that way again you could control the amount of grip that the car had. And yeah, pretty much everything else kind of fell into place really easily. A lot of this stuff are things that I kind of just set as standards for all of my drift builds, but I did play around a little bit with this build, and I think I found the tune that really works. So yeah, definitely give this tune a shot for yourselves and let me know what you guys think. Feel free to leave a like on the tune as well. But yeah, that's really about it. I'm gonna quick go through the paint job that's on this car as well, just in case you guys want to recreate that. So really quickly here in the designs and paints, we're gonna go to paint the car, and this is pretty simple, but I know some people might have some difficulty matching that cream color that's on Adam's car. So for me personally, this is what I did for the body color. I did the fine tune, of course. These are the settings that I did for the hue, the saturation, and the brightness. And then moving back out here, that's for the entire body. I didn't change anything specific here. The only other thing I changed, of course, was the color of the rims. And obviously here are the settings that I used for that, the hue, saturation, and the brightness. Feel free to use the settings that I'm showing you guys now as kind of a basis if you think you can find a better match. I think these are pretty good to the colors that are on Adam's car, but I'm sure you guys can do a better match. So yeah, feel free to play around with these if you want to, but I will again have the share code as well for the paint job that I have on this car on the screen right now. But yeah, boys, that is about it for the build. I'm going to quick give this thing a little test just so I can show you guys just how capable this thing is as a drift car. Alright guys, so we're drifting this car now, and this car really feels at home, especially in fourth gear. This thing absolutely eats in fourth gear, and you can hold out those really long slides. And if you start going fast enough, you can even kick it up in the fifth gear as well. Again, this car only makes 600 horsepower, but it feels like way more than that. I don't know. You'd think that with how gripped up this setup is with the drift tires, as well as the lower rear tire pressure and the bumped up rear track width and wider rear tires, you'd think this thing would be a little bit more grippy, but it still feels really controllable. It doesn't feel twitchy or snappy or anything. It feels just very comfortable and dialed, and I think that's why the 240SX especially is one of the best cars for drifting in this game. Very versatile with the setups. Again, I went for the turbo SR motor, but I think pretty much any setup, if you tune it right, will fit this car just fine. And as you guys can see here, this thing is super smooth. I can hold a lot of angle really comfortably in fourth gear. I can throw it in confidently. I don't have to worry about it constantly twitching or spinning out or anything like that. And yeah, feels really good. I'm in love with this tune. This is probably one of the better tunes that I've done, which is kind of crazy because I didn't do a ton to this tune to begin with, but it still turned out really good. As you guys can see, throwing it all the way in fifth gear, holding it really wide here. And yeah, this thing, oh, absolutely rips. Kick it down in the third for this tighter slide. And again, it handles it no problem. It's very versatile. It's very agile. It's not like super hard to control. It doesn't have a strong tendency to spin out. You can just drift this thing for days, and you can even hit some really tight technical sections too, like right here. Yeah, this thing freaking rips. I love it. But yeah guys, that's gonna be it for this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed this. I feel like it was a pretty accurate replica to Adam LZ's car, especially with all the exterior upgrades. I feel like we got those pretty well in hand to kind of accurately recreate his car. Obviously we did the SR20 swap as well, and we tuned it up, and the tune feels super dialed as well. This is easily one of the better drift cars that I've set up in the game, and I hope the same is for you guys. Whether you're a beginner or whether you're more skilled, I feel like this is a really universal tune. It's a very versatile car that you can have a blast drifting with, as you guys can see based on the drifting that I was doing just a little bit earlier. But yeah, once again, I hope you guys enjoyed this build. Feel free to drop a like on the video, subscribe, and do all that stuff as well. Leave any suggestions for builds you'd like to see in the future down in the comments. And with that all said, I hope you guys have an amazing day.